what's up? Dr. Joseph Allen here, and I've been trying out the new Essilor Transitions Xtractive new generation lenses for about a month now. And in fact, I've been using the Transitions Xtractive polarized lenses since about the fall of 2021. And this has been pretty cool for me. I have always been a fan of transition lenses, being that I am somebody who is very light sensitive, but I've never had the chance to experience the Transitions Xtractive lenses before. So now that I've used them, I can say right off the bat, I am really impressed by them. They can do a lot of sweet things that I've never seen done with a photochromic lens before. However, with that being said, they are not perfect. And there are some things I would like to see improved upon down the road, which we are going to go over. But first, let's go over the price. The prices for the new Transitions Xtractive lenses are a little difficult to nail down just because it depends on where you're buying them from, including are you getting a standard lens, are you getting a progressive lens, are you getting anti-reflectives, all those things. But just to go from like a standard clear lens to upgrading to a Transitions lens of this kind, expect it to be in the ballpark of probably around $150 US up to maybe $200 to $250 US extra. Kind of like purchasing an extra pair of sunglasses that you don't have to carry around with you, and the lenses have all sorts of extra protective benefits kind of wrapped up into it, again, all for that extra little price. But depending on if you are shopping with some sort of vision discount plan, they may have some sort of extra benefits that'll bring that price down even lower. So now a big thing about transition lenses is how they work when they're exposed to different light levels, whether you're outdoors or indoors. Now most people think of Transitions lenses and how they turn into sunglasses outside. And I can tell you, the Xtractive lenses do get darker than any other lens that I've ever seen. In fact, at the timing of this video, they get darker than any other photochromic lens at moderate temperatures. You see, the warmer the temperature, the faster the molecules in the lens want to rearrange and go back to a clear state. So the warmer the lens when you're outside, usually the less dark it becomes. But the team at Transitions figured out some sort of a way to tweak their formula in order to fight that, bringing the darkness level of these lenses in sunlight from a class 2 sunglasses lens up to a class 3 darkness level when in moderate temperatures of around the kind of low middle 70 degrees Fahrenheit level. If you are unfamiliar with the different classes of sunglasses grades, usually most sunglasses that you find on the market are going to be between grade 2 and 3 in my experience, with grade 3 being a little bit darker. There are class 4 sunglasses lenses which only transmit about 3 to 8% of light, but they are usually harder to find, and most of the time people don't wear them because when you do get that low of transmittance, it gets much more difficult to see and function in just regular daily activities. But the fact that the new Xtractive lenses do get to that class 3 mark, which again is similar to most regular type of sunglasses lenses that I own because I am light sensitive, it's pretty cool. Now, another cool thing is that these lenses also filter and absorb light when you're indoors, such as right now, because they are Xtractive, they do have a kind of a subtle tint to them. Now, part of that could be because I'm sitting right next to a window here with some light coming through, but overall, I can tell you that I don't really notice too much. You can tell me in the comment section if you can kind of notice that these lenses do have a little bit of a tint to them right now. But I can tell you just from my point of view, looking through the lenses, you don't really notice that big of like a brightness difference. It is kind of there, but it's really minimal. And I feel that once you are wearing them for more than like 5 minutes, your brain sort of adapts to it, and you don't really, you're not super aware that there's a little bit of a shade on there. But I think that little tint can be really nice for people who are very light sensitive like myself, even to indoor lighting, such as lighting at any sort of department store or such like the bright lamps that are in my new apartment. Those things are just insanely bright. Or if you're bothered by bright screens on all of your digital screens, like on your computer, your phone, and things like that, I think this little tint can help there too. In fact, a cool thing about these Xtractive lenses is that they not only block 100% of UV UV light when you're outdoors, but they filter up to 34% of blue light at the wavelengths of about 380 to 460 nanometers of light, which is like the really intense blue light. It filters up to 34% when you're indoors, and it can filter up to 90% of that blue light when you're outdoors, which is really important considering the most intense blue light that you'll ever be exposed to comes from the sun. So again, you're not just protecting your eyes from UV light, but you are filtering blue light to some degree. Now the next big question is, how long does it take for the lenses to change, whether that's going from light to dark or going from dark back to light when you come indoors? I know from just reading their white papers, this new generation is supposed to be 35% faster in changing. But in mine and your personal experience, if you are to pick up a pair of these, it does largely depend on temperature. Now here at this time in Minnesota where I live, it's pretty cold out. It's about -10 degrees Fahrenheit on the day that I'm shooting this video. It is freezing out. It's like -10 with another -20 wind chill. But it's still, they are extra active lenses, and I clocked them in at changing to almost completely dark in less than a minute outside. And these things do change really fast, even in really cold temperatures, and I absolutely love this and need this, being that I live in Minnesota. But of course, the downside again is when you go from being outdoors back to indoors, because even with the temperature change going to warmer indoors, it still takes, I clocked in over about 5 minutes to start changing back to clear again. However, I do want to mention, although they will likely remain looking darker on you for a long time when you come back in, visually when you experience it through those lenses, it's really not that bad. Assuming that the lighting and wherever you're moving into, the lights are on, or you're able to turn them on pretty quick. I mean, you can see through these lenses even though they look like they're still pretty dark. In fact, for someone like myself who is very light sensitive, this in fact helps me a bit more when I do transition from that outdoor into indoor, for my eyes and my vision to kind of acclimate to the brighter lights. But I know for a lot of people, this time between changing is a bigger deal, so I wanted to at least kind of go over how that works with these. Now, since it is so cold here in Minnesota, I wanted to kind of clock what it was like at more moderate temperatures. So in the clinic, I activated our UV meter, and it's about 70 degrees here in the clinic. And I'll say it turned dark almost instantaneously, it seemed like, probably less than 30 seconds. And then to turn back into clear, again, it did take longer. I would say it still took somewhere between that kind of 3 to 5 minute mark before they even started becoming a little bit more clear. Now, another big selling point for these types of lenses is that they do activate when you are in the car. Most other types of photochromic lenses don't work in the car because the car windshield has a UV light blocker in it. But because these extra active lenses, they do absorb more different wavelengths of light, they do still activate. Now, previous generations of the extra active lenses, they got darker in the car too, but they only got to about a class 1 darkness level, where the newer lenses, because they do activate so much better, these ones go to a class 2 darkness, which is about the level of most lighter tinted sunglasses. But just for comparison, I tried to hold up both the fully activated lenses when I was in the car in direct sunlight compared to a more dedicated class 3 lens. And you can tell there's just a subtle difference between those sunglasses and the Transitions Extra Active, but I find them very close. No, I do really like that they do change, and I can tell that they change in the car. However, again, because I am so light sensitive, I will be honest, I still personally often change to a dedicated pair of sunglasses when I'm driving in daylight. However, I have been caught a few times without my sunglasses with me, and I have been pretty happy and thankful that I did have at least these Transitions Extra Active, because then they did change. But that would probably be one of my biggest critiques, and something I would still love to see better in the future, is that I would like to see these lenses get even darker when you're in the car. I understand that's a tall order right now, but they've made it this far with the technology. I'd love to see them push it a little further. Now, because I do have other pairs of transitions, namely the Generation 8 lens that I used in a previous review a few years ago, just to have that comparison of the Transitions Xtractive new generation versus the Gen 8, I try to put a couple of side-by-side comparisons here, both for clarity indoors, so you can see that little bit of a tint with the Xtractive lenses, as well as how dark they get outdoors. Certainly right now, again, keep in mind the temperature, but then also how dark they get in the car. So clearly, I think you can usually tell the differences between these comparisons, but let me know in the comments section what you guys think comparing these with the Xtractives. Do you think Xtractive lenses are really kind of a cool thing, something you're interested in? Maybe not. Maybe you've had other photochromic lenses before and haven't had good success. Either way, let me know what you guys are thinking. Are Xtractive or transition lenses something for you or not? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Overall, from my personal review, I do really like these. In fact, these are the lenses and frames that I'm wearing most often in the last month or so. I like that they do get darker. Again, I am light sensitive, and I do like even that little subtle tint you get when you are indoors. Again, personally, because I am so light sensitive, I do wish, again, they would get just a bit darker. I even think that if they could get to that level 4 darkness when outside, I'm one of those people that would like that. And again, same thing in the car. It's great that they do get darker. Again, getting to that class 2 is pretty impressive, but I still would like it to get a little bit darker. As far as the time change, I know again that may be more significant for some other people. For me though, again, because looking through the lenses, it doesn't seem as dark as what they appear. It's not a big factor for me. The only other slight criticism I would give is that these ones that I've experienced, these are the graphite green lenses, and I'm a little disappointed that they're not more green. I do love gray, I love brown, but I've always loved green just a little bit better, and I would like it just to be a little bit more green. Now, I do have the new Crizal Rock anti-reflective on these lenses, which does have a little bit of a green hue reflectance off of it, so it kind of makes up for it, but still, again, I'd just like to see more colors. But perhaps with more style meters and things down the line, we'll see some things come out over maybe the next few months or years. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching. Hit that like button for me if you learned something new. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Otherwise, again, Dr. Allen here. Keep an eye on it, and we'll talk to you soon.